I just think that I really can't say often enough how much I love this team. I just feel that they, in a season that could have been a near impossible season for us, they keep believing and they keep looking for ways to get it done. And if COVID doesn't mess us up too much, we have a chance to, I think, really set a whole new standard of excellence for women's basketball at Air Force. And I think they're a group on a mission, and I'm just really proud of how they're handling everything. Because this is just everything on paper said this was going to be just a really difficult year.
Okay. Coach, this is Brent Bergman.
Brent.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate on what on paper led you to that conclusion?
Why we thought it'd be so difficult?
Yeah.
Well, I think it started with just realizing that because of the new rules that had come into place for the NC2A, that we were going to be facing, and this turned out this is very much the case. Many of the teams that we're playing against, if not most, have several significant fifth-year, sixth-year seniors, whereas we had to graduate, somebody that was close to being an all-time leading scorer and somebody that was close to being an all-time leading rebounder. And we had to graduate those people, and everybody else had all those people, everybody back. And that's what we're seeing, teams with pretty much their whole starting lineups intact. And then I think the fact that we had nobody over 6 foot. We only have two that they're probably not even 6 foot. And knowing that we had no size, and that we had to take some hits from just things that are part of, academy life. And I think just the climate of Division I, the high level of transferring and international students and everything else. So it just was a very daunting task when the whole season started, and they have been willing to do whatever it takes to figure out how to get wins and how to be successful, and I just respect and appreciate them very much for that.
And that final play at Wyoming where they scored on the inbound, I mean, you feel like you could have defended it any better?
Well, I knew they had that play in there, and I'm mad at myself that I wasn't a little bit more on guard for it. But their big girl had just been tearing us up. I mean, she was really the difference in the game, and we knew they were going to lob to her, and sure enough, they did. And we just the inbounder defender chose to double team, and they dumped it off to the inbounder, and then she just kind of tossed it up there, and it went in. So I can't really say that we didn't do the right thing, because we tried to take away the kid that had hurt us so badly, but she was able to make the play and able to get the pass to the inbounder, and that was it. So. So I feel badly about it.
It looked like your defender closed back on the girl who shot the ball, though.
Oh, they tried.
It looked like she was still defended.
Oh yeah. We did everything. I thought those guys. I thought we did everything we could under the circumstances, but it was still a really good play by Wyoming to manage to get that ball to that kid underneath the basket like that. But again, it was their size. It was just their size that was so hard for us to deal with. We just didn't have anybody that could match up to number 45 size. So,
and with Fresno State, obviously the Cavender twins are kind of celebrities in the women's college basketball world. What as players, what kind of challenge did they present?
Well, the Cavender twins are very high energy, very competitive players, and that's what you have to respect most about them, is just how hard they come at you, and how they're able to go at that speed and at that pace for such a long time, and they're just good basketball players. Pound for pound, I don't know that there's two better basketball players in the country, pound for pound. So you definitely have your hands full, but I don't know that that's what's made them celebrities. I I think they've had some other qualities that have helped their celebrity status.
Yeah. Do you think it's good? With the name, image, likeness, what they've been able to do for themselves?
Well, I think it's fun for the conference. I don't know that it advances the game necessarily, but I think it's fun for the conference and just to have that sort of the notoriety in the conference. But we don't care about any of that when we line up against them. Let me put it that way. If anything, I think it kind of motivates everybody a little bit more.
And in terms of your matchup, because you don't have a lot of height, are they? I don't know. Is it easier to defend someone like that because you can physically match up?
Well, their big kid in the center though is 6'2", and she can play. So you don't underestimate the impact she has because of her presence and what she's able to allow the Cavender twins to do because of her presence. Because they do have a big kid under there that you don't dare help off of. She's going to get the offensive rebound. She's a terrific rebounder and a very, very capable scorer underneath the basket. And that allows those two on the perimeter to do a lot more of their thing, or we would definitely be leaving somebody in the key to to help out. But they play for the foul an awful lot, so you have to be smart. You can't you can't be sloppy with them because they play for the foul, and oftentimes you just have to really do a great job of maintaining position and not fouling them and realizing that they're going to get some points. You're not going to stop them completely, that's for sure. So we'll have our hands full. I mean they're good and that team's good, and that's a program that has had a lot of success and knows how to win. So it'll be a big challenge for us. Every game's a big challenge for us. But the matchups, it did make a difference that Wyoming was as big as they are. Other than their point guard position, they had inches and pounds on us considerably at every single position. And whereas, Colorado State, not quite so much. Size-wise, we matched up a little bit better. And it does make a difference when you're as small as we are. But we forced 26 turnovers. We almost more than made up for it in the turnover category, but we have to. We don't have any choice. That's why we do what we do. We have to get possessions, and we have to sometimes get them. We know it's a good night for us if we're even on the boards. I mean, we're excited.
Hey, Coach, Jake Gayton from KOAA. Question for you: if I asked you last week if you were gonna, what the results were going to be at the end of the week, and you would probably, like most of us, guess that, hey, a loss at CSU and a win at Wyoming, yet it kind of flipped. Are you surprised by how that happened, especially with how big of a win that was up in Fort Collins and then kind of a letdown in Laramie?
Well, I thought both games we showed up with the right mentality. And in the Colorado State game, we were just hitting. It was one of those nights where our shots were going in and they were struggling to find the basket, and that's why you got the score differential. You don't get a score differential like that. We're not 25 points better than Colorado State. That was just a good night for us and a rough night for them. Now, do I still feel like we should beat them? Sure, I feel like we should beat everybody because that's the way our players think. And I think that Wyoming is a tough place to play. And, they have a crowd that thinks every call against their team is the wrong call. It doesn't matter. They just are convinced. And it's a tough place to play. And they have, and again, there's a matchup situation there. And the shots didn't fall as easily as they did against Colorado State. So it went down to the wire. We still, obviously could have pulled it out. We had our one of our bugaboos come back again, and that was a slow start. And oh man, we have to work on that. There are certain things we have to fight all the time. One of them is having a slow start, and we had a slow start against Wyoming, and that hurt us. So we played catch up all night. But it was pretty exciting to tie it up with 6 seconds to play, and just didn't quite get it done.
Joe, one other question for you is this: Riley Snyder, when she produces so much points and offensive rhythm for you guys, when she has an off night, it seems like it's hard for you guys to get in an offensive rhythm. Is that accurate, do you think?
Well, she's a big part of our offensive strategy, no question. We have a lot of plays designed for her, and she's somebody that we count on to put points on the board, and she did struggle. And the night before, we had a couple freshmen really pick it up, and but Wyoming defended us differently. Now, I think part of that was because of how well we performed against Colorado State. I think they showed a lot of respect to all of our players and made sure they got out there and defended them. And then we had some good looks that just, like I said, didn't go in. So it's basketball. It's basketball. And Wyoming is not. That's a pretty good team. You have to remember that is a team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago, and they basically have the same team back. So that's a good team, and we'll look forward to having. One thing we haven't been able to do is play Wyoming and Clune for 2 years. So it'll be nice to have them here finally after 2 years. We've had to play them out there three games in a row.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Rachel Galligan here. I wanted to kind of expand on the play of Jill Huntimer a little bit. What can you say about her and particularly her, just kind of the role she's been thrown into a little bit these last few games, and in particular her performance against CSU?
Well, that's certainly one of those things on paper where you're going, okay, and then in addition, you have a freshman starting a point guard, and your other point guard is also essentially a freshman. She's a sophomore who didn't play last year because she was injured. So Joe is just a really good basketball player, But she is a freshman, and some nights are a little tougher than others because everything is a new experience for her. She'd never played Wyoming before. She'd never been in that environment before. And she played great against Colorado State, struggled a little bit against Wyoming. And I'm just thankful that both she and Taylor, I think, are doing an outstanding job for us, particularly under the circumstances. And nothing but respect. And they're just going to keep getting better.
And then as you head into this week, obviously being back home, that's got to be exciting. What are the things, not just particularly matchup-wise, but the things that you guys are doing really well right now and things you guys are going to have to hone in on to be successful this week?
Well, I felt like during the break and even through some of that time over the holidays, we started to lose some of what I call our defense mojo. We just weren't quite the same team we had been earlier in the season. And then we came back and had no defense against UNLV. Just not us at all. So that was the big point of emphasis going into this road trip. Let's get back to being the defensive team that we were at the beginning of the year. And I felt like we did that. I was very pleased with the defense both nights. I really was. And when we play defense like that and we hit some shots, you're going to be in trouble, So I just am happy that we're back. We're back to who we were defensively, and we've got to maintain that. We have to continue to come after people. We have to continue to force turnovers. We have to continue to make up for our lack of size and even some. We have three really gritty seniors in that starting lineup who are just leading the way on that. Sierra Winters and Haley Jones and Riley Snyder. Those are three gritty kids. They don't mind getting down and getting after it and doing whatever it takes. So they've just provided great leadership for us, and I think, and then we have some freshmen that know how to put the ball in the basket. So they're helping us with that aspect of things, and while they're learning the defense, it tends to take a little while to get really good at what we do defensively. But they're making progress all the time.